10 hiring paradigms to consider in 2021. This year has been full of surprises after the past year we went through. As a result, we had to shift the way we work, the way we think, the way we process information, and the way we pivot in business. Many of us had to go through a new process of hiring people, managing people, dealing with stress, organizing events due to the semi-remote nature of work, finding different ways to communicate between one another, and so forth. As a result, hiring in 2021 for most companies out there is a lot different as compared to what we had to face in previous years. This is why I've selected the 10 hiring paradigms to consider in 2021. Number 1, attitude over skills. This hasn't really changed much over the past year, but what it showed us is that attitude is ever so important when it comes to hiring new talent. With the semi-remote nature of work and with the ability of lots of people to join numerous remote companies out there, finding people who align with your culture is really important. This is why hiring for attitude and not skills is what's going to pre-select the best applicants out there and the best talent that's going to stick around. If you hire someone for skills only and they can't fit in the culture and they can't fit in whatever you want to represent as part of the company, it's not really going to be a hit for a continuous period of time. If, on the other hand, you only look for attitude and only look for attitude in the sense of fitting exactly in the culture of your existing organization, this is going to be a lot more successful than what you previously tried to build. Once again, to recap, attitude beats skills every single time. Number 2, look for intrinsic motivation. It's very important to figure out what drives people further. For some, it's cash. For some, it's holidays. Maybe it's learning new skills. Maybe it's working on an exciting project. Maybe it's contributing to the environment. Whatever it is, make sure you understand the intrinsic motivation for people that you hire within your organization. Knowing the intrinsic motivation is going to help you fine-tune those people and build a career plan that's aligned with their expectations, meaning that they're going to be a lot more motivated to stick around and continue pursuing even in tough times. One thing that I used to do when we were a smaller organization first was building a top 3 priorities list for every single employee. Once again, for some it's money or title or exciting projects or new skills or anything like that. Just trying to make sure I understand what are the 3 most important things that people care about. Spending more time with family, being able to travel, speaking at conferences, contributing to open source projects, whatever it is. Understanding the top 3 skills for your talent is really integral, because even if you're going through tough times, even if they're pulling the midnight oil or anything like that, it's going to be a lot easier to retain those people and just make sure they're grounded and make sure they push through, simply because their motivation is still aligned with the goals of the company and it's still going to be aligned after the crisis is over. Number 3, ask for common interests. People spend a lot of time at work, regardless of whether it's on-site or off-site. Making sure you actually understand what people care about and making sure that those people can fit in the organization is going to contribute a lot to making sure those people can align to whatever you want to build in the grand scheme of things. What we have designed here is a number of Slack channels that allow us to actually let people peer up with one another. We do have channels for football, fitness, health, different music genres, gaming, pets, and all sorts of hobbies or all sorts of interests that people tend to share when working together. And as a result, what we have here is small communities within the organization that spend some time together and discuss things even outside of work, after business hours, over the weekends, which is making them an integral part of the organization. Everyone wants to be a part of the community. Everyone wants new friends, people with common interests. The more people you have within the organization, you have to take it the right way. We're not talking about white Caucasian men within a single age or anything like that. I mean, this doesn't really relate to diversity in any sense. Just making sure that people have common interests and common hobbies or common whatever it is, so that new people feel welcomed and they can be integrated easily and they can build strong connections within the organization. Number 4, confirm that their roadmap is aligned with the vision of the company. Companies have mission and vision statements for a reason. We have designed a guide for that to help you build one if you don't have so far. But whatever the vision is, it is the future direction of the company, where you're headed, the goals you want to accomplish, and what you want to end up with at the end of the day. And making sure that the individual's goals are aligned with the vision is something really important. One example I have is an interview from last week with someone who was really talented and really skilled, but the reason we didn't send him an offer was we couldn't identify what his roadmap was. He wanted to study different things, but he wasn't really focused and well centered on a specific skill set or a specific type of company or a specific product or a specific anything that he wants to develop. And I was as candid as it gets. And what I asked over the interview is, look, we are not worried about skills. You don't have to pitch us on skills. We hire for attitude regardless. But what is the reason you want to start with us? What is going to convince us that we're not going to spend 3, 4, 5 months mentoring you and onboarding you and training you so that you jump on to the next company? That's the real question at hand. That's really what we care about. Once again, it's not about skills. It's about your intrinsic motivation. It's about your personal roadmap, what you want to accomplish, because it's really paramount for us to know that first, we can deliver upon that. And second, we do expect other offers to pop up. They do. Talented people do receive offers. Everyone knows that. We do want to know that we can offer you what you really care about, so that you're not just going to jump ship after the first opportunity. Since he wasn't able to provide that, once again, even if he was a good fit, traits and skills, unfortunately, we couldn't buy into investing in him for several months until any offer comes in. So to make sure this is clear, confirm the roadmap is aligned with the vision. Number 5, quiz them on the vision. Since the vision is clear, try to reverse engineer the process and make sure it's something that you can handle. So quiz them on the vision. Ask them specific questions with regards to what they're after. Ask them controversial questions with regards to potential possibilities of what could happen in the future. Things that are highly related to how you expect things to pan out in 6 months, a year, or 3 years from now. One thing that really stands out after I read the story of pirates and navies, quotes attributed to Steve Jobs, is his question of, are you a pirate or are you a navy? Startups often start with pirates, with people who are handling all things and are chaotic but have to do a lot of things, and there are no processes and everything is just scattered around, but they have to push through because you don't have an organization with 1,000 people who deal with their own departments and their own responsibilities. But as the organization grows, you start to apply, create, and design processes. You hire tiers of management, leading people and supervising them and controlling process and so forth. So pirates have to adapt to becoming navies. So what you want to figure out is whether your pirates can be navies, and especially the pirates that you're hiring now, are they suitable for the organization you're planning in the future? Sometimes the answer may be no, and you have to be ready for that. So quiz them on the vision and just ask the right questions. Number 6 is be open to new career roles. There are companies out there, and that's something that we've bothered from other organizations too, is the saying of we invent roles for the right people. It's similar to the we are always hiring paradigm, and it's not much different from the fact of if you meet the right people, because finding top talent is real hard. If you stumble upon top talent one way or another, inventing a role for them may be the right move. You may be looking for a product manager, but what if you stumble upon an account manager that may not have the vision for a product but is great at customer development or business development or upselling customers or designing cross-selling relationships or building partnerships or something along those lines. Think of roles that you may not currently have in the organization, but people you interview may actually be suitable for them. In this case, even if they're not the best fit for the specific role you're interviewing, you may still be able to retain them in a different capacity and unlock different opportunities for the business. Number 7, post alternative jobs depending on trades. Similar to the previous point, consider finding talent based on trades and not based on title descriptions. I'll give you an example. When we look for project managers, oftentimes we look into different roles that are not titled as a project manager. Why? Because we are an agency and we are a digital agency, and what matters to project management is handling multiple projects at once and taking care of customers, our teams, and projects. Those 3 different departments work in a very specific segment that includes a little bit of a combination of account management and business development and supervising skills for handling the team properly and industry-specific skills with regards to how a project works and how it operates and how to sell it and what's possible and what's not possible. That's usually learned on the job. Most project managers out there either come from non-digital industries, meaning they're managing construction projects or event management, for example, or anything like that, or they come from enterprise corporate structures with tons and tons of meetings and working on a 5-year long project themselves with other program managers and other incident managers and escalation managers and all other types of managers. So to combat these, sometimes we look into roles that have the right traits, such as posting a job description for an account manager or posting a job description for a marketing manager, or maybe sometimes it is an event manager that simply may have the right skills to organize people and communicate with different stakeholders, which is what event managers do. So in a nutshell, if you're failing to find the right people within that specific segment, try to think creatively, look for other types of people, or maybe decrease your requirements a little bit and look for more junior people, but onboard them properly. Having said that, number 8, create internship and training programs. If you're unable to find the right people for the job, ask yourself, how can I onboard other people and bring them up to date in terms of skills or expectations in the best way possible? What we've done multiple times and also doing right now is we do create internship programs or junior/onboarding programs that help us build new talent from people with limited skill sets. Large corporations and organizations have been doing this for ages. They have support trainings and sales trainings and whatnot. They do have coaches and mentors, but they also do have training materials, they have handbooks, they have purchased training courses, they do record workshops and other things so that new people can start sooner. So once again, think about what does it take the first 2 weeks, the first month, the first 2 months to bring someone up to date with what the organization needs, cultural needs, business needs, communication standards, the specifics of a job, the day-to-day of a job, and so on. Try to build a training or an onboarding roadmap for them, gather different courses, purchase them if needed, or talk to different trainers in your area and ask them what it takes to build personalized trainings when you start your onboarding program. And this way it's going to be much easier to hire for attitude and train multiple people and find the best talent out there. Because once you hire for attitude, motivated people are going to go through the entire process, making sure that they're going to deliver and grow within the organization. Number 9, partner up with training and HR companies. Lots of companies organize boot camps or specific trainings or anything like that. Sometimes HR companies also do have specific pools of people within an organization that they can lend one way or another, or they work with juniors or with trainees. You can partner up with them and make sure you do have a specific track of skills you want to train, or maybe even design your own course or an onboarding process that they go through even before starting within the organization. Or maybe, once again, they have a talent pool you can tap into as needed on a kind of subscription basis. There are different ways to pair up with them, so make sure you understand the landscape in a similar way as top companies in California look for talent and have specific relationships with top universities out there, making sure internship programs go through them, making sure they have guest speakers there, and so on. Building strong relationships there ensures that you can bring top talent this way. And number 10, automate as much and document as much as possible. Whatever you do, some people are not going to stay forever. And what you want to avoid for the sake of everyone else in the organization is avoiding the buzz factor, avoiding stress, avoiding pressure. The best organizations in terms of stability are organizations with recurring revenue, organizations that diversify, and organizations that automate and document as much as possible. Make sure that many of your processes are subject to automation, or at least they could be handled by low-level support staff having been provided a document. Of course, we are not talking about sales or customer relationships or the R&D of your company, but there are lots of things that you can get tooling for with notifications or reminders or business process management, lots of different things you can set up. Same goes for documentation. Once you train someone for 3 months, if they leave in 2 or 3 months, you want to have documentation in place. You want to document the journey, the onboarding process, and have materials ready for the next person to start with as little friction as possible. It makes the onboarding process more pleasant, it makes people more comfortable, it makes goal setting possible. So make sure you spend the time on a regular basis to automate and document your processes and reduce the friction within the organization. So that's it. These are the 10 hiring paradigms to consider in 2021. You may invent new ones and you may discover new ones depending on the culture of your organization. But going through the list, make sure you're doing everything right and make sure you have the bases covered for new hires. And good luck.